A very good afternoon, all of you, for making your time and joining this Friday podcast, which we are doing actually for almost a year, going to be mainly on the theme of ecotourism, sustainability, the relation between ecotourism and sustainability, and the overall aspects of the basically about the livability in this planet where we are living, and the importance of ecotourism in that. That's the main theme actually. The overall the concept that ecotourism is not just for entertainment and recreation. Entertainment, recreation are definitely important part of that, but ecotourism has a bigger role to play to ensure livability in this planet. And that's the basically theme we have been discussing for almost 1 year now. And today we have with us Manish Lakhani. He is currently a partner with ecotourism and photography company, Darter Photography. Manish is someone actually who has extensively explored high altitude Himalayas, especially the Western Himalayas, which is known as actually for its hostile terrain and climatic conditions. He has explored in all possible means. He has explored it on foot, explored it on bicycle, explored it on two-wheelers, four-wheelers, in group, sometimes on his own, solo. Sometimes he kind of used those trails which are not open for people, which are not really used or discovered. He kind of opened the trail for him and did the exploration on his own. So he is known as a mountain man, actually, a cyclist, a trekker, a hiker. But more importantly, Manish is known as actually as a photographer, as a professional photographer who basically known for photographing nature and landscapes, people, culture, and heritage. And when we talk about people and culture, of course, indigenous people, the tribal forest dwellers play a very important role in that. And today, when we talk about ecotourism sustainability, but we also talk about those indigenous peoples and how those indigenous people fit into our ecotourism activities. That's what the expertise Manish brings in. And that's basically we all will be curious to know from Manish. So Manish, welcome to this evening podcast. Thanks for your time, for joining, and to start our conversation with you,
Thank
Manish.
you, Arnab.
Yeah, thank you. And to start our conversation with you, Manish, first we'll be curious to know that how did you had a passion for photography. I mean, of course, I mean, people who does photography, they do it out of passion. This is not a thing which you cannot just learn and do. You need to have passion for it, and then you excel in this. But the question is that how and why you made it a profession for you.
It's a good question. I'm still looking for the person who pushed me here. So I was having a very good corporate life before getting into this. But I'll definitely tell you, photography is just a byproduct of my travel or whatever. I love to do it. I used to go for expedition. I used to go for cycling and all adventure kind of things. But yeah, finally one day I decided to quit from the corporate, and Sriram and Arun, who used to be we all of us to travel together once upon a time as a friend, and they said, "Oh, you also do a little bit good photography. Why can't you join us?" And that was the idea of them to put me in a photography as a professional photographer for me, photography for me. So yeah, so finally I just jumped in, and this is what is it's happening now. So basically, photography is just a byproduct of my travel. This is what I love the most.
Okay. So basically, your interest for travel it played the main role behind your photography, and that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. My follow-up question would be that Manish, there are many genre of photography, right? And since you have, as you have said, traveling was important part of that, and I know that your traveling was not traveling in uh, the popular cities and popular, the tourism places where people go for fun. Your traveling was on the difficult places where you need to be physically fit, you need to be mentally fit, and you need to be ready to take challenges and ready to sacrifice your comfort level, and probably risking your life a bit, chances of getting injury, all those things are there. So those type of traveling inspired you for photography. So my obvious question was that why did you pick up that particular genre, the nature and landscape, people, culture, why that particular genre kind of excited you?
I really don't know how I picked up that, but at the end of the day, when I was doing photography, so people is generally like, I'm curious about people, like I'm curious about different culture and everything to know about them. Yeah, generally when I was a
Mm,
kid, I used to read a lots of different books, coming from different author. And you still remember
mm,
like when we were a kid, Russia and India, they used to have a very good tie-up in terms of books. And lots of,
yeah.
Russian book used to get translated in either in English or, our own local language like Gujarati. So I used to read a lot, and I'm always curious about the other world than whatever there is surrounding you. I think that more likely that was the push for me to go and visit some places which is like more remote and less known kind of thing.
Mm.
So I think that's the only like whatever I did in a childhood, eventually it came out as a it came out into my photography and maybe on my travel.
Okay. Okay. No, that's quite interesting actually. That always this one thing is coming up, that definitely your passion for traveling is the key thing over here. I mean, if you have never been a traveler, probably you'll never become a photographer also. That's what I just
Oh
understood
yeah,
from
this
your
this
answer. Yeah.
100% true. Like if I'm
Yeah.
not traveling, and definitely, I'm not going to do any kind of a photography. I'm not the person who wants to do something random kind of thing. You might see, some of my random
Yeah.
poster on here and there, but I'm always, have something sequence in my mind whenever I'm doing it. You must have
Mm.
noticed me even in photography. You don't see me traveling on
Yeah.
all the places. You will see me mostly like traveling at one place repeatedly. That's the
Great.
reason because I want to learn, more about the place. I want to learn more about the culture. I want to really create friends, at the different places.
No, absolutely. I mean, definitely. I have traveled with you at least. I know you for many years, probably almost 5, 6 years. I know you very closely, and at least 3 times we traveled together, which are all those traveling was quite long duration traveling. So that gave us opportunity even to spend time together, and then sometimes difficult situation also. I still remember that Spiti on the penultimate day on the Badam top, if I have remembered right. If even
Yeah.
Laraji is also here, he knows that, who's our host in Spiti. So that was a difficult trek. Actually, it's not a long trek, but difficult trek, quite steep. We had camera and everything in our hand, and on the other side, if you can reach at the top, then female leopard are waiting for 4 little cubs, tiny little cubs. That is a lifetime opportunity to see. But you have to take that challenge to climb, to reach there. Then only you're in a position to even see it, and then photography comes later. So I was there, and one of our participants, I remember his name was Rajul. He was with us, and we at some point of time we were ready to give up. नहीं हो रहा है और नहीं चढ़ पा रहे हम. And then I remember that before that I did typical trek in Western Himalayas, and I know trek leaders' behavior. You exactly acted like a trek leader. बोले थोड़ा और है, बस थोड़ा और है, हम पहुंच गए, थोड़ा और है. Okay, you take these lozenges, you take these chocolates, that will keep your mood up. So,
It's very simple because I'll tell you, it's not about being a
yeah,
leader or something. I'm also tired. I also need some motivation, right? So by
yeah,
talking with people and I see some people are not doing well. So I also feel that
yeah.
even I'm not doing well, but these people are trying. So let's motivate each other and, reach to the place where we are supposed to reach.
Yeah. No, that was kind of give a feeling that it is not just you were there to teach us photography. You were not just acting as a photography mentor, but you were actually there to give us that experience. And he was acting as a trek leader, who was ready to provide. He was ready to ensure that we get the experience plus we, First, we live in the moment, we enjoy the moment, and then photography. We can
Yeah,
do.
it happens sometimes, you want to give up. If
Hmm.
you can, overcome with that moment, definitely, then you never regret it. And you always enjoy that. Oh, that was a small moment you want to, did not want to do it. But end of the day, you did it and you achieved it. I think that's a sense of motivation for yourself. And
Absolutely,
sometimes every
absolutely.
human being, they need a little push to, reach to somewhere. It could be track, it could be anything actually.
Right, right. So since we're talking about you mentioned actually that you do not go to everywhere. You pick a few places, and there's a pattern behind it. There's a thought process behind it. Nothing is random, well planned out. And the few places are picked up, and you go there repeatedly so that you get to know about those places more. Some of those places, what I traveled with you, it's not just Spiti, but also that I know that you keep traveling to explore the nomads, the Changpa nomads or Western Himalayas, and then I traveled with you to see the elusive headhunting Konyak tribes of Nagaland, which are almost at the verge of probably probably 50 odd people are living actually, and then probably another 5 6 years they will be also not there. Maybe 10 years they will be also not there. So that we never get to see them in their
Yeah, that's
uh,
part of history will be,
yeah.
it'll become a history then.
Yeah. Same thing with for Apatani also. When we go to the Zero Valley or Arunachal Pradesh, we saw the Apatani. So my question, Manish, that people like us are basically the main participants in this type of ecotourism activity, ecotourism slash wildlife activity. And when I say people like us, basically mean that urban affluent people who are the main customers of ecotourisms, and you take them to those places which are, some of them are actually god forsaken places, some of them are actually very remote places, some of them are even difficult to reach, difficult to establish connection with the people, forget about photography even. So why do you think that people like us should be interested in doing this? They are interested, of course, because they're traveling with you, but what's the the one thing behind it that they are interested in
So,
your opinion?
yeah, my opinion, because, money matters everywhere, right? I'm just kidding. Money is
Yeah.
not an important thing when you find a like-minded people who really wants to visit, who wants to walk extra step to see something, to experience something. I think, that's where, people like us and my local friends like Mirza and, a couple of other people, they are, always there whenever there is an odd situation, or if I want to explore for myself, they're always there, right? So why
Mm.
can't I also, help other people, like-minded people who wants to experience something and give them a platform, or give them like, become a link kind of thing between two different places. Let me be a link, and other people also should experience those places the way I am experiencing. So I think that's the motivation behind, doing something which is very unique and remote kind of a places to travel. So that's the idea. Like, go and see something from those people. What I saw it, why not to share with others? That's the major thing for me. So that's the reason, you keep visiting certain places again and again. You find a potential. Then definitely I would like to, take other people with me. And that's the reason, some unique trips, whatever we are doing, as a part of Darter, that's the result out of it. Like, you can say, some trips in Changpa nomads, which is out there, very remote. You hardly see anybody is doing that kind of a trip. Similar way, the way we are doing Apatani people, which is focused only on Apatani people, the way we started doing with the Nagaland, like the headhunters, definitely, this very important part of our history, whatever kind of a history. But that's very important, and that's where, like-minded people should go and visit those things, just not for the photography, but to learn so many things from those indigenous people.
Okay, okay. And what are the learnings actually when people like us participate in this type of photography? We do not go and see any monument. We do not go to see what are the best food over there, and then we do not go just to do a tick box that these are the 5 things I have seen. And but so what when we go generally, or people participate go with you for almost 20 years now, you're doing it. What kind of learnings they get?
So basically, earlier when we started our photography trip, it was more like a photograph centric. So, we
Mhm.
used to travel at one place, very like, just visiting every day a new place kind of a thing. So it was more like a photography thing, yeah, you go and take some beautiful sunset, sunrise, some portraits, maybe some monuments, and like, 10 days trip, you are probably visiting 8 different places. But over a period of time, we also realized that just visiting those places and making some pictures is not giving the fulfillment. So we decided to, start sharing the experience. So, you must have noticed that nowadays we don't travel that fast. Our pace of travel is also slow. So we generally spend like couple of days at one place before we moving to a different place. So, that's where you also get the idea, also, learn and sense about about the place. You also get an opportunity to go and experience the place the way it should be. So that's the idea, like, you spend more time in that area, well, you're able to experience the landscape, people, the food. It's a part of very important part of travel. We are just not taking photographs, we are making stories of your pictures. So basically, whenever you are talking about your travel, you are just not showing them a picture, you're telling an exact story, what you experienced it, the way you traveled out there. So that's the idea behind, making this kind of a very unique trips.
Right, absolutely. And these places, I mean, if I talk about, if it is Konyak, the headhunting tribes of Nagaland, or Apatani of Arunachal Pradesh, I mean, you have been doing this for so many years. Any moment what you had, which kind of gave you some special feeling, or kind of excited you, or maybe put your life under threat, I don't know. I mean, it's something probably stayed with you for some special reason.
Like but I'll tell you very frankly speaking, if whenever I visit any place, first time
Always.
or like, repeatedly, I always have the same excitement. When you're visiting some places for the first time, you have a sense of excitement to see the new place, to learn something new. The
Yeah.
second time when you visit the same place, you always try to think what was missing on a first step. You want to achieve that thing. And afterwards, like, it's like, you are getting back to home kind of a feeling. You meet your old people, the old people whom you met again on a previous trip. Just talk to them. And you also see what kind of a changes are happening in their life. So basically, it's like, vice versa kind of a thing where you also learn about them, they also learn about you. So like, we generally tell, like your friends are becoming old together kind of a thing. So meet the same people again and again. So basically, you create a comfort zone between you and your subject. So that's where you start creating stories about the people, about the culture and everything. You also witnessing change over a period of time. In first visit, might excite you like, oh my God, it's an amazing place. But when you go to the same place again and again, you start noticing changes and everything. That's where you start making your own stories. Am I
Mm.
right?
No, yes, that is very much true. I mean, one thing again. I mean, again, you emphasize that. I mean, earlier also said that, and now also you're saying it, that earlier everything was photography centric. I mean, you go, you take photographs, and that you just count your shutter counts. Probably you see that how full your memory card, and you come back. I mean, now you're doing that, but again, the objective is not just doing that. The objective is also the story associated with that, and objective is also the experiencing the whole thing, and that kind of enrich people's knowledge about the environment, where the particular place is located, about the people, how they're living their lifestyles, which are probably a very different alien thing, probably, but people like us, like the urban affluent people or urban folks who beyond their imagination also at some point of time, the kind of things we get to see actually sometimes, right? Especially if I remember our last trip in Nagaland, or in the Konyak, in the village. So there, the way they leave their kitchen, especially, it's so unique, right? It's dark, completely dark. You do not see anything in the kitchen, and how they're doing everything in the kitchen. They're cooking their food, they're living their life, almost probably 70-80% of their time they spend in the kitchen itself. The kitchen is bigger actually than the bedrooms. Probably 5 bedrooms constitute equivalent to their one kitchen. So these kind of things we are very difficult for us to imagine in a normal life, right?
Generally when we visiting this kind of a places, we generally don't think about, the aspect of that particular place. Like, what is the utility of that place? We being living in urban places, we generally want to have our own privacy all the time. But when it
Hmm.
comes to a kitchen, people want, we generally talk about dinner diplomacy, right? Like
Yeah.
we generally talk about in family, oh, let's, come together, let's, sit in on the dining table, let's discuss something. I think, are we not talking about same what we saw it in, like, smaller places like Nagaland? Because, in that kind of a kitchen, where it's a designated places for older people, where they're
Yeah.
close to the fire, and, rest of
Yeah.
the people, they are doing their own designated work. And same
Yeah.
time, family things are getting discussed. I think,
Right.
we are not doing anything unique, but we are just replicating those things, whatever it is used to happen with our own ancestors. I think probably if you're coming from the small town or maybe from the village, you must have noticed the similar thing, what used to happen in our own houses, which we
Hmm.
forgot now. So basically, those things, what you learn from those people, how to be united as a part of a family. So how to respect our own elders, how to, carry forward our own cultures and, unique things, whatever it is there in, in tribe or, whatever you call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what actually, when we scientifically try to define ecotourism, I mean, in the community of sustainability professional where I belong to, we generally define ecotourism as an activity which has two overarching purposes. One is creating the awareness about the ecosystems, which includes flora, fauna, and people, of course, with everything is part of ecosystem, and also giving authentic experience of the nature, not just recreation and entertainment, which are part of that, but that's not the only objective. And exactly, Manish, what you have said, especially when we visit this type of places, we experience the authenticity. Yeah.
That's right. Because, otherwise you try to do something on a, it's like a stage kind of a thing. There is no authenticity. There are not the real people who know who is talking to you. The people are talking to you. They are telling their own stories. I know there is a language is a problem. We always have a link people in between. They are helping us to make that talk very comfortable. You can ask them questions. People will, So basically, you are creating the entire, cycle where, people are talking with each other. They also learn probably something from us. We also learn from them.
Absolutely. And this authenticity of experiencing the authenticity part, I have particularly experienced, Manish, when I traveled with you, particularly Apatani and the Konya trip, that I have seen that when you go to take people's photographs, you always want them in their most extravagant attire so that they look so different from other people, and you come back and tell to people like who in urban areas that see these people look so different. But your instruction to us was all the time, okay, we'll take few photographs in their traditional attire, but also we take photographs the way they looks every day in their life, and that is the authentic things. So
Yeah,
this,
because we
yeah,
don't
yeah, if
wear,
you can just
similar, like in our own daily, life, we don't wear our own traditional clothes, right? How can you think someone else will, wear that kind of a traditional clothes every day? People wants to have their own comfort zone in by wearing the clothes and everything. So that's authentic, like, when we talk about their attire and everything, definitely it's a part of, your culture. So when you want to distinguish people, definitely you would like to have, clothing, so you'll also come to know what kind of clothes they are wearing, what kind of ornaments they have, what kind of headgears they have. But same time, they also have a regular routine life, right? Where they are not comfortable wearing those things. So I think, you have to mix it things and balance it out things together. So that's where
right.
you complete your story rather than having some beautiful portraits in the traditional clothes. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Absolutely. And this is how we I mean this is probably one way actually to teaching your participants that do not I mean if you are ready to observe actually the authentic things, and then you should be ready to capture their moment in their regular way of living their life. And when we talk about in uh, ecotourism, which is much more inclusive in nature, that includes all these aspects, not just flora, fauna, the people and people in their original way of living life, especially the indigenous people who are actually cohabiting with nature. Their was lifestyle is way more sustainable than what we can imagine. In fact,
I
Manish,
don't say way more. They were always sustainable with the nature. They never like, they always have a give and take relationship. They used to take something from the nature, same time they used to give it back to the nature. I have never seen that they, the today's generation, whatever we are doing in the city, like we keep taking everything. We never think of giving back, right? So when we go and visit those remote places and everything, they really had a proper, sustainable lifestyle where they take only wood what they wanted, but at the same time they are giving it back. They have their own, community forest where they are,
yeah,
growing forest and everything. So I don't think so. They were like they're doing something very unique. That was a way of life which we are missing these days.
yeah, yeah. We miss these days. We do not live life like that, and that's why we think they are unique. I mean, I completely agree with that. Uh, but for them, this is what natural and this is what's supposed to be. I mean, that's actually the ideal way, or I would say that that is probably the scientific way or the natural way of living life. But our perception is very different from that, and that's why we find it unique. In fact, Manish, that if you're talking about Apatani, that probably the world has started recognizing that Apatani has that particular tribe has recognized actually by UNESCO for their sustainable living, their traditional the fish and rice culture. What they do actually, the same field they cultivate rice and same field they cultivate they culture fish also. Everything, they do not add any chemical fertilizer anything, because whatever come out from fish as an excreta, that itself actually acts as manure, and rice cultivation yield is grown high,
Correct.
scientifically proved, all those things which we have witnessed. So Manish, so in the book actually, which was published written by me almost a year back, Pseudo Ecotourism in the Shadow of the Bengal
Correct.
Tiger,
It's a
and
nice book.
you read that book, and that book actually I try to talk about our trips to the Apatani village, particularly because of not just the sustainable way of living, but also the overall concept of inclusive ecotourism, which means that the visiting the indigenous people is also ecotourism, not just seeing the wildlife or flora and fauna, the only ecotourism. This is also one aspect of ecotourism. So do you have any comment on that, or any kind of opinion on that with respect to either that book, or this particular, the involving indigenous people in this type of activities? Anything you like to share on that?
So basically, when I was reading your book, I felt like, it is written in such a way that where I'm also traveling with you, you are putting up your own experience, not in like very, buzzwords kind of a thing, very big words, but like, the very easy language where, anyone can understand it easily. Even like you is not used to like, with very fancy kind, used to with the fancy language, English language, but like, it's like your own, journey where you are traveling on different places. And definitely the way you are writing and talking about ecotourism, it makes some sense to have ecotourism and in that way rather than on a name of ecotourism the way things are happening today. Because people will go and talk about, oh, I was in so and so place, but then you realize it they were not living with like the local people homestay. They were having a small extraordinary hotel, small boutique hotel they were staying where they never get the experience of living with the family. So whatever you have written, whatever your experience, it's a great thing to write in the same way.
Okay. And any message you want to convey to the ecotourist or any tourist who are aspiring to take part in this type of trips, whether it's your trip or three kind of trips Shriram organized, which is your partner as well as CEO of your company. Uh, any message that what kind of mindset they should have first of all before
Basically, it's
participating?
very simple. I don't have any message, and I don't think so. I've reached up to that level where I can tell somebody to do or guide somebody. But for me, it's very simple. When I'm traveling to a different place or maybe a different city, we generally talk about, oh my God, I would like to go and eat something like that on some particular place. But nobody wants to see how that things are, they are making in an authentic way. Like generally, when
Mhm.
we go and buy some sweets for some particular city, we go
Mhm.
and eat some, that area. We go to some shop and we buy it and eat. But we really have no clue how those things are happening, how those things were evolved. When you're doing a ecotourism, getting into the smaller places, definitely, that gives you a sense of connecting yourself with that area or maybe with that people, maybe with that culture. So I generally tell people if you are visiting those places, make sure it's okay a little bit if you're uncomfortable, because that uncomfort will take you in a zone where it's someone else's life. So it's
Mm.
uncomfortable for me, but some people are living that life for centuries, and they are living that life very comfortably. So rather than learning what makes them comfortable living that life, we try to use, sometimes our own habits, which is not suitable for that environment. So that's the only urge I tell you. Wherever you go, try to blend the way people are doing it.
That's very important message. Wherever you go, try to blend with the people and ready to take little bit of the so-called uncomfort. That may not be the
Yeah, it's not
really
uncomfort
uncomfort.
actually. It's not uncomfort. It's that like a new learning actually.
Yes, because very important point you made is those people are living in that way for centuries and still there is a smile on their face, still they're happy, still they're excelling in their life.
Why can't
So
we
that
do it for
is
one
not
week,
the
right?
uncomfort in real sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, our perception about uncomfort, and I also like that. See that take ready to take that feel that uncomfort, take the uncomfort, and then you that will take you different zone. So
Yeah, that
that's
will
very important.
definitely help you to create the stories, just not
Yeah,
photos. That's where you start connecting with people. Like, some people, I know I'm not comfortable, sitting on the ground and eat. But one day if you'll try, then definitely, it's not a bad thing, right? The
yeah,
way,
yeah.
whatever way you can do it, just do it. That's it.
No, this is another important thing you told me, and that's you touched my writer's mind also. That gives you the story when you push yourself in uncomfortable level. Exactly.
And
Otherwise, what you
even
have
when
to
we
tell.
talk about something, achievement, nobody is interested in it. But when you start talking failure, that's makes story, right?
Right, right, right. Failure makes the stories. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most of the popular stories, popular non-fiction, especially at the primarily the stories of failure and how you overcome that, rather than talking
And
about
it's a
that.
success of the person who is, selling their failure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It needs a lot of courage also to talk about that, and
Yeah.
also it gives people motivation that somebody overcome that failures and reached at some level.
Yeah.
Those are the stories. Another important thing, Manish. Thank you very much for that. I think this is a good conversations. We have probably 10 minutes or so left. We can take questions from participants. I can see a lot of familiar names: Amit, Ashok sir. Simon Steiner has joined actually. If you remember, he was part of our Spiti trip. Then, of course,
Yes.
our uh, old friend Suchi, Savanti, a lot of people, Rohan, who regularly joins. A lot of people have joined. So we'll probably take a few questions from them. Then, before that, Manish, do you have any question for me? Uh,
Keep writing, man.
I
I
can.
have no question, but I have an order for you. Keep writing such stories, Definitely, I can't
Okay.
write it or I don't get a time to write, but at least you did it. So definitely, when you write something like this, we can read it.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a advice and order instruction, whatever is well
It's not
taken. You are
advice,
my
that's an
mentor.
order.
Yeah,
That's order.
absolutely. And happy to take that from you. You are my mentor, nevertheless. And as long as I get opportunity to travel with people like you, people like Sri Ram, then I'll never have dearth of stories. I'm sure about that. There'll be always stories with
You
me. And
you come together to share stories, right? It's not all
yeah,
about like, one person's story. Everyone
yeah,
comes with their own different story. That's it.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Manish. We'll take some questions. Anybody have any questions for Manish on any aspects of traveling, photography, nature, landscape? Or Shravanti, yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I am quite a curious person. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Arnab for inviting me. I think the last time I missed out. And the whole aspect of ecotourism in 45 minutes was really enough trigger to create the curiosity inside me. And I would really like to know more about this. So Manishji, I have, the first thing is I always follow Arnab on his photography things, and I don't read all the write-ups which he writes, but now I'm really more curious to read about them, go through it. But, the two things which I really note, I mean, I sit with my notebook and pencil all the time. One is failure makes stories, and that attracts because most of the people really are in the limelight of social media where they want to write the success. always. They want to project the success. People don't write the failures. So, in your journey, in your all these journeys which you have done, the travels which you have done, so what motivates? Like Arnab has been asking you the same thing. You know, what motivates you? So I have the fair idea that you have a love for nature. Is that the biggest reason that pushes you to do such kind of travels?
Of course, I love nature. I love more originality. So rather than cities, so I know definitely, I grew up in a smaller places, and then my education took me on the bigger cities. My corporate life also pushed me to work in the bigger cities. Then again, one day when I decided to move out from the corporate, I wanted to go back to the smaller places where you really see right people are living there, the way they are blending with nature, the way they are living, and they are doing a small thing to keep themselves happy rather than whatever we have, we are still not happy, but they are happy with the smaller things, right? Whatever they have. So when I quit my corporate, I decided to take a bicycle and I cycled across India for 6 months. So that's where I learned it. That's real India lives in a smaller places, not in a bigger places. All bigger places, no matter which state you are in, people are same. The behavior is same. But the smaller places, small villages, no matter what, people are same in a positive way. They always there to, create a paradise for you. You just have to blend with them. That's it.
So I have another question. If nobody is asking, do I have
Please,
the
please go
privilege
ahead.
to ask? So
Please, please.
now, I see most of the photographs, and these places, as you're mentioning, these are authentic. Is there a fear also that people will start visiting these places and they will start spoiling the sustainability of that place? Because most of the places which are called as, non-explored and, not very commercialized, tourism has happened. That place, that area becomes a target of so-called travelers, because as I got this ecotourism concept, I'm feeling, the perception of holidays or the perception of tourism in my mind has really changed, because I always felt luxury is tourism, but here it is, as you said, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, that many times you are not okay to sit in the floor and eat your meal, but once in a while you are experiencing the authentic lifestyle of a tribe which is almost dying, or it is getting you know vanished in some time, in some years, and our next generation might not even see them unless somebody like Arnav writes it in his book, or you click them. We'll lose all of them. Those are the rich culture of our country. So do you have a fear that people like, maybe like us, maybe like me, I don't throw litter here and there, I'm very particular about it. So do you have a fear that if it gets more in the social media, that place might get polluted, in the sense garbage, all those other things, basically the commercial tourism?
No,
That's
it's
one
not
thing.
about the
Yeah.
tourism only because nowadays the internet is also there, right? So people
Yeah.
learn out of it. The way of earlier it is like commuting one, like just sending a message to each other used to take at least a week because you were writing and it used to go by post. Now
Right.
things are there on your fingertips. So you know
Right.
Internet is everywhere, even the smaller remote most places. I can see, phones are working these days. So it's not about
Yeah.
only tourism, but lots of other things are also teaching them. Like,
Infrastructure also.
yeah. So like earlier days, people like I traveled in some remote most places where there was absolutely no phone connections for days together. Still, I can see plastic there, where they are learning from. First,
Yeah.
when it used to happen, like, we people used to get plastic with us and we used to tell them, this is the easy thing to do it. But these days, people
Right.
see it on internet, they demand it, and people reach everywhere. I've seen people, they don't, wear their own traditional clothes, which used to be very comfortable even in that weather. People started using something Western wears the way we are wearing these days because they got influence on the internet or somewhere else. So it's a comfortable in
Right.
terms of wearing those things, but it's not eco-friendly. But yes, it's not all about you and me as a traveler can impact them. There are various things which is impacting them. It's up to us how to protect them, because you cannot stop anyone to, do a progress. So everyone wants
Right,
to, have a car. Everyone wants to have some comfort in their life. But same time, losing your root is not a good thing.
right, right.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So you get all comfort, but why you want to lose your roots? So this is what I learned one thing.
exactly.
When I'm meeting my own people, and if I use a different language to communicate with them, that means you are losing your authenticity, you have started losing your identity. If I'm a Gujarati, if I'm meeting to a next Gujarati, and if I can't talk in Gujarati, that means I lost my identity, right? So you should not lose your identity. I know when I'm meeting someone else, I should have a common language, maybe Hindi, maybe English, or whatever language you know, when you can communicate with each other. But when you're meeting your own people, and if you don't talk in your own language, that means you already lost your identity. You are not supposed to.
That's a
Exactly.
very
So
important point. Just yesterday,
yeah,
we had International Mother Tongue Day. Yesterday.
So why do
So
you need
that's
to celebrate those things? That's not needed to celebrate, right?
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
When
yeah,
I can speak, we have a common language, Hindi, let's talk in Hindi. When I'm meeting my
Bilkul.
own people, I'll talk in my own language. When nobody knows anything, we should have some language which can use it as a link language. Just communicate.
Right.
Simple.
yeah.
And we make issue for nothing out of language.
Oh,
And I like to compliment what Manish said, Shravanti, to answer your questions. Answering your question not in Bengali, in Hindi, in English, because everybody understands. Shravanti and I
Yeah.
speak same language again, but so everybody understand actually, because we have people from other part of the world as well, not just from India. So Shravanti, you asked a very valid question. So that those places, especially where Manish goes, those are less explored, if not unexplored, definitely less explored, very, very significantly less explored. I mean, you cannot even imagine, if you do not get there, go there, how less explored those places are. And if with beauty, forget about my writing, photography attracts people most. And Manish's beautiful photography is an award-winning photographer. His photography can attract people, more and more people to go there. And that has definitely a chance of exceeding the carrying capacity of the plates at some point of time. And that's why Manish made the point, and I completely agree, that you have to have the mindset of leaving the comfort behind. If you travel those places, you travel, but don't expect the luxury and comfort we expect in your
So,
apartment
Arnab,
in
I
the
want to
city.
add one thing.
Please,
I
please,
am,
please.
I traveled in Ladakh for past 22 years,
Yeah,
continuously without a break. And
yeah,
slowly, urge of my travel was becoming slowly less. Why? Reason is that you will find all the comfort what you used to find in
yeah,
city. So you lost
right.
the authenticity. You find
Yeah,
internet everywhere. So that means you start losing remoteness every day.
yeah,
The places where you used to camp, there are, there's all roads are there. I'm not
yeah.
saying it's bad, but it's overall it's giving a very, huge impact on our life and, economy, ecology, and environment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is the key thing. Authenticity is the key thing. I mean, you are going there to experience the authenticity. So you cannot do
I
anything
don't
which
want to
spoil
carry
that
my own
authenticity.
baggage, right? If I
Yeah,
carry my own baggage out there, it doesn't make any sense.
right.
And I know
Yeah,
that whatever habits I have, they all of them are very bad habits compared to what they are doing it. They are not any environment friendly. So I don't want
yeah,
to carry those my baggage and teaching them something which is not a good thing for
yeah.
overall life cycle and overall environmental things. But
Absolutely.
unfortunately, we are doing it. We are ambassador of doing bad things in remote places.
We're doing it. We're doing it. I have heard people are expecting a flush water toilet in remotest area of Spiti, where reaching itself is a difficult thing. Daytime temperature is -10, -15. Daytime temperature, night you can imagine. There people are expecting why there are not Western commode or flush toilet. I have heard people asking for
It's a,
that.
environmentally, it's not good for that place. You should
Yeah,
have dry pit toilets where things will get dry out quickly.
yeah, yeah,
Like when I talk about, water scarcity, Ladakh is a place where there's always a water scarcity. People will laugh. I said, well, is it water? You are in Himalayas, talking about water scarcity. Yes, that's the place. Biggest water scarcity because, all glaciers are receding. There is no proper snowfall which is happening during the season. And there are many hotels around here and there, which is creating problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. So these are very vital points, Savanti, for making that. Actually, the most important point. And thanks, Manish, for answering this. Any questions from anybody? Couple of minutes we have before we conclude this session.
If nobody is asking, anyone can, you can ask. I can ask
Yeah, yeah,
also.
yeah. Of course, of course. I mean, even Savanti can ask more questions if you have. Well, I think Suchi want to ask one question. Please, Suchi, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, we are hearing this uh, come along, like not only this forum, quite a
Yeah.
lot of forum that things are not in good shape. They are getting spoiled, right? So I'm just trying to understand, like both of you are here, so and both of you have traveled extensively. Manish has traveled to the, like as we discussed, like which unreachable places also,
Mm.
right? So my, like this question, I have a lot of time also. Okay, is there a hope that things can get improved? If it is there, what way, like as a normal person, individual, what we should do?
Okay.
And specifically, Manish has traveled very high altitude Himalayas and other high altitude places. And even Lara ji is here, who is a resident of a very high altitude Himalayan
Here,
also. Like
I get.
what exactly, like people should do as an individual basis? At least if
Okay.
there is a hope to protect, we can do that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Manish, you want to
So
take, then
first
I
of all,
can
like,
also add.
I am against when people start making a bucket list without understanding their own physical capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you a great example which got
Mm.
ruined. That is a Chadar track, which is now a road. So it's gone now. So Chadar track, when people saw the pictures, people thought it's for everyone. People used to make a bucket list and they say, oh, I want to, like before I die, I want to go on a trek. But look at your own physical capabilities, whether you can do it or not. People don't do it because of the internet. Everyone wants to put that picture saying that, oh, I was there, kind of a thing, right?
Mm.
Without understanding the place,
The same thing
without
was Savanti says,
understanding.
you're putting the success story, only talking about success story, and
Yes.
that's you to do
So
it.
I'll tell you, my first, when even, when I came to know about Chadar Tech very long time back, like 22, 23 years back, I wanted to do it. And those days, like, people used to, only foreigners used to do that track, foreign companies, and they used to charge very hefty on those days also. And I joined one of that group, and I realized it like half, not even halfway. I think on a first couple of days, I started feeling I'm not physically fit for that particular place to go and walk. And nowadays, people walk for 5 days and they'll say, oh, boss, we did Chadar Trek. But actual Chadar Trek is used to be a part of the Silk Route where we used to travel 12 days one way, 12 days come back. So almost like 24 days walk on the semi-frozen river. So there are challenges are included, right? Water is there, ice is not, ice is broken. So all those things were there. But because of the internet, this is what it is started happening. Everybody wants to jump there without understanding. And this is what has happened to me. After 4 days of walk on that river, I realized that I'm not physically fit, not a physical, but not a mental fit to take that kind of a cold. So that's where, people should understand that. They should understand that it is not happening. Either you go back fully prepared. Don't do something where, whenever there is a failure, write your failure also. Okay, these are the mistake what I have done it. So other people, when they go that, they get the real picture rather than, some beautiful pictures and everybody wants to run out there. When I did Chadar Trek for 10 years. And I also was part of, a couple of documentaries like BBC and CNN, other places they are making in that area. I was leading them in terms of locations and everything. And I realized people just jump there because they want to take some beautiful pictures or just like a, tick mark. I've seen people, they just go and come back even after 1 or 2 days of failure, but they never say that there was a failure. They
Yeah.
could not do it, but they just mark it as they have done it and they portray something like a success story. Tell it is not happening, it is not happening. It is not everybody, every individual, every human, they have a different body type, right? You are not fit for a altitude, you are not fit for a altitude. Accept it, don't do it. But people do
Yeah.
it. They push themselves unnecessary and they die. So I
Yeah.
think, understanding your own physical ability to reach any place, it's more important. And of course, once you are physically fit, but your mental fitness is not there, you are not going to reach anywhere. So I think we have to think all those things rather than, jumping around, making some list and try to
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
we visit those places.
Right. No, if just to compliment Manish what you have said, and the Suchi answer that what we was question that what we should do actually, how we should prepare. I think Manish, you were bang on the issue that be prepared to face the uncomfortable in the same things, and be
And
prepared to accept failure.
that's another thing. Rather than learn what human body can do, but it's better to learn what you cannot do it as a human being. If you can learn your
Right.
limitations, you can do wonders.
Yeah. Learn your limitations, assess your strength, be prepared to
Correct.
failure,
Yeah.
be,
Yes. Yes.
be prepared to face uncomfort level, and then you you are mentally prepared to feel the
And
authenticity of the
if you are
nature.
working in that bandwidth, what you are strong of, then that helps a lot rather than jumping around here and there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay,
Which you
so
hope I
thanks,
have
Suchi.
answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. At least whatever is left out, let's save that. People should understand their capabilities. And
Suchi,
because
over
I
a
have
period
to
of time,
go.
when
Yeah.
generally people talk about global warming, I sometimes, I know if I tell this one, people might say, "Oh, you are a stupid guy. Everyone is talking about global warming." When we talk about the Earth age and what we talk about, what we
Hmm.
have damage, we have done it in last 100 years.
Correct.
That's not even the fraction of
Very
seconds for a planet. If they
exactly.
want, Earth wants to balance, like nature wants to balance, they don't care about humans, right?
The
Overnight something
species
happen
like
and we'll be
dinosaur has
vanished.
been vanished. What human
Yeah,
being?
so we'll be vanished one
Yeah.
day. So and we'll be vanished early
Yes.
because of our own mistake. But otherwise, there is a plan for a nature
Correct.
when whenever nature wants to vanish this humans,
It's
it will
already,
happen.
yeah, it's already started working actually. Like you
And we
have
only
COVID, you have a lot of things. Yes. It's
yes,
nature
yes,
has
this is
already
what we are
started
doing it.
working
Yeah,
towards that.
yeah.
Correct.
So global warming is real, but we don't want to live 1 week uncomfortable in warm weather. So we put an AC. So this is what is going to happen.
Happen. Correct.
and
And
I
otherwise,
I
human body is a miracle. You live 3 days in that warm weather, you will be comfortable even with fan. There is absolutely no need of any air condition.
this is
Agree.
actually Manish actually walks the talk. Manish, if it is okay to reveal that, that Manish actually started walking the talk. He doesn't drive. He only use public transport or bicycle whenever he is at home, and
No,
he
no, I
has
don't
stopped
do that. I
air
don't do that
condition also.
religiously, but whenever it's possible, I do that. I don't own a car because I did not want to, and I travel a lot. But I have a bike. Motorbike is also there. But whenever it's possible, I try to use public transportation.
And
I'm
you
not saying
stop
I'm
using
like
air
a hundred
conditioning also.
percent. Huh? Sorry.
You stop using air conditioning also, right? You do not use air
I don't
conditioning
use
also.
it actually. It's there
Yeah,
at home, but I hardly switch on.
yeah. So yes, I mean, of course, I mean, it a lot of things depends on perceptions, and as Manisha said, I completely agree because I have also tried that and found it that you can actually condition your body, and you can make your body resilient towards the natural weather. And you can actually live in natural weather if you can do that. But first, we need to change our mindset. It doesn't happen
So mental
overnight.
strength is more important than anything else. Physical comes later on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely agree. Thanks everybody, Manish and Savanti and Suchi
Thank
for
you,
asking.
sir.
Any questions, Savanti? Your hand is still raised. You have any one last question?
I forgot
Okay,
to
okay.
bring it
No,
down.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you very much for everybody who,
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
who
Thanks for joining.
yeah.
Thanks. It's a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll
Thank you.
try to do many such podcasts in similar theme, and I'll keep you guys posted on that whenever we organize.
Thanks, Arnab.
Thank you, thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks again, Arnold.